Hey everybody, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day and a happy holidays as well. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but from last year's ATO and Union Station Market video, this tree behind me is actually 4 foot tall because I really have no interest nor investments in a very large tree. But anyways, I hope everybody's having a fantastic holiday season. And hopefully y'all survive like all the hecticness going on, whether it's traveling, work, etc. Now something different from last year's tree is that I went into a framing shop to have like a couple of prints out for a couple of foaming pictures that I've taken. This one on the edge is Dash, a little tribute to the DC streetcar. Oops. I think on the very corner right here we got our SEPTA trolley. We got the Pulse, which I need to do a video on, but that won't be until next year because I did not get that many footage of the Pulse this past year because I was mostly focused on that very long transition track video. And of course the Toronto PCC, or as what many will call the TCC PCC. I'll actually do a video not about this, actually a little bit about it, but also where it's at, because right now that is at the National Capital Trolley Museum, so expect a little tiny blog about it. Now along with that, I'm actually going to be updating like my wall that I normally film at because it definitely needs, like, say, a little bit of a changeover, but I've also added a couple more tile pieces. Of course, the aforementioned GRTC Pulse, followed by the same Toronto PCC, the MBTA Red Line, and of course the aforementioned Dash trolley. So it'll be a great installation along with all the other goodies right there. And then I definitely need to like also readjust it because one thing that I completely missed out is the fact that it's actually crooked. Because right here, the painting that I just made is where it's straight, and then yeah, I don't have a step ladder, so we'll figure this out. But in case anybody's wondering about the tiles and like their backstories, right here, that was actually taken at Vienna Fairfax GMU, funny enough, because this was during MetroFest. Dash decided that they wanted to like at least contribute in a way, and they decided to like say bring one of their buses as a cooling bus because it was insanely hot that day. I was only there for just the first 15 minutes, then I had to get back to work. So if you did not see me, that's the reason why. Meanwhile, right here, that I thought I never took because my phone was acting up, and thankfully when I was like searching through it, I found it. Right there is the PCC from one of the videos, Super SEPTA Sensational. In case anybody's wondering about that, why I called it that, it's just a play on Super Sábado Sensational. It's a Latin variety show that happens every Saturday. It was like a competitor to Sábado Gigante, so I decided, hey, let's just call it Super SEPTA Sensational, because it rolls with it. Right there was the DC Circulator Roslyn route the day before it got shut off. That one got shut off earlier than the rest of the DC Circulator, so I decided to just pay my homage there. Technically, this is the first time that I've ever actually ridden the Circulator, and the only time, unfortunately. Well, we'll see if like the new mayor brings it back. Then going from here, that is obviously the Cardinal heading eastbound to New York. Taking both of those two pictures, like the night one and the daytime, I really did love the fact that I was able to take enough time to do it. This was like at a rest stop in Huntington, which if you've seen it, you would kind of get, you would kind of know that it's like one of the rest stops. Of course, that's the VRE by Alexandria Station, where I'm standing at the King Street Old Town platform. I think if I remember, like I was just taking this just before I went to the Nats game. Yep, and unfortunately during that game they were doing 8 home runs and we scored nothing. So they as in the MARTA Braves, beat us. And then, of course, in the center, this is the M. Maryland MTA Baltimore Metro subway link at Owings Mills. There is a video that I did plan to do, but I scrapped it just because I was filming very inconsistently and I just felt very out of my element filming it. So I do have plans next year to, like, say, maybe make multiple videos so that way I can get like a much more better, like, thorough experience about it, rather than saying, oh hey, this is the first time I'm riding this thing, and instead just giving it like a full, like, concise, hey, this is what I've experienced on this day, this is what I've experienced on that day, and this is where it all sums up. And of course, in the bottom, this is a painting that I made 4 years ago. Yeah, that's where the vibes go hard. Anyways, I do want to thank every single one of y'all from the bottom of my heart. 34 subscribers at this moment, and honestly, I'm very grateful and thankful to at least, like, have, like, a lot of people watching. Recently, I've been trying to find the best, like, videos to take that I know, like, say, people will end up liking, and of course, like, stuff that I personally like. I'm not, like, really, like, invested in YouTube because, again, I do have, like, say, a job, but as the New Year's rolls on, and with my hours, like, being a little bit, like, say, more shorter, now that the holiday rush is in, that gives me, like, say, much more better, like, idea of, like, say, what kind of videos I want to make. And of course, like, say, I forgot that, like, we got Tramuary, which I will be joining. And don't worry, I've already told 29 down the line about it. We'll see if I can do 4 videos to rival him. There is one thing I do want to mention, and that is, unfortunately, I am going to be dealing with a little bit of, like, say, some economic issues. To sum it up all short, my rent increase was a higher percentage than the wage that I'm making. So that means I'm getting much lesser, like, payback or return on investments with, like, a much smaller paycheck, since I have to pay a much larger rent. So I decided that I do need to, like, say, think forward with this and save a lot of money to see if, one, I could just move out, or two, see what else I can do to get a much lesser pay. But this ultimately means that there will be no travels outside of the DC regions, with just a tiny bit of caveats. The first one being that any travels within the Virginia region, just because, like, the fares are low, because the state of Virginia is kind of, like, say, paying for it, I can do. The only exception would be the Cardinal, because the Cardinal, like, stations are destinations, actually, and what I meant to say, are actually super expensive. But places like a return to Fredericksburg, Richmond, Charlottesville, they're all possible. Hampton Roads is going to be a little bit difficult because of what's been going on with the Long Bridge repairs, and trying to get a route that is going to be a little bit tricky. Williamsburg is a possibility, though, if I take a FlixBus for the first time ever and then take Amtrak back home. That is possible to do. Of course, as mentioned, Baltimore, because it is super close to DC, and you can try either Amtrak or MARC, it's not that, like, say, insanely expensive, so maybe some videos there. And of course, I might do at least one trip to Philly and SEPTA Patco's territory, because the good thing is that sometimes the Northeast Regional will have some sales that will actually make it pretty affordable for me to do, like, one. The other thing is that if, based off, like, say, the brochure that I've read of the SEPTA key card, if I don't use that SEPTA key card after 1 year, they do charge me, and then it's like, I can probably, like, not want to have that charged on my SEPTA key. So let's go ahead and at least go to Philly one more time. I'm not sure if I'm going to film it or if maybe there's something else that I can probably do. But we will see. Again, I'm just trying to, like, say, forward think this through. I have been, like, say, very strategic about, like, say, what I'm spending and what I'm not spending. Unfortunately, like, any trips, like, to Indianapolis, New York, Boston, anything further, like, across the state, like North Carolina and stuff like that, like, those are not going to happen, just because I want to make sure that I spend it, like, that I'm, like, not spending too much and I'm saving as much as I can. Same thing with Richmond. Most of the Richmond trips that I've done, like, obviously I stayed at a hotel, so it's probably just going to be a one-day Richmond trip, which ultimately means that personally, which I do like to watch NASCAR and IndyCar races, I can't even spend tickets on those. Well, let's just hope for 2027. So as I wrap up this, like, say, life update, do expect a couple of videos. And one thing that I will say is I will do one last hurrah in New York for my birthday, because I do want to, like, do one last hurrah. And two, on my 30th birthday, am I going to go back to Loudon Gateway? No. Nope. Never. Maybe. But for my 30th birthday, why not just go somewhere like, say, big, and then just do one last hurrah before I do a major travel block for 2026. So expect some videos from the Big Apple. And with that being said, I think I need to get some donuts. That's right, little one. We're getting donuts. Alright, chat, donut's been acquired. Finally, I get to take this to my family in another place. Anyways, I'll just end it right here, and hope y'all have a fantastic Merry Christmas. Here we go. Already he's overdosing on the sweets.